Salutations, generals, captains, and soldiers. This is Frags, and today I'm going to be talking about a rather unique title. It's an RTS game called Ratten Reich. Yes, I have to really roll the R there. So the game just got successfully funded on Kickstarter, and I thought it would be a perfect time for me to take a look at the trailer of the game and sort of see what sort of game it is and maybe react to what I'm looking at here. So let's jump in to the trailer. First off, a quote by Niccolo Machiavelli. So first off, as you can see, as I said, it's Ratten Reich, right? So it's anthropomorphic rats, basically. Human bodies, rat heads. I guess rat bodies. I guess you can't see them through their clothes. We'll talk about that a little later. So this actually reminds me so much of Battlefield 1. Actually, the thing is that Ratten Reich, I guess you can say that it's sort of set in World War One, an alternate universe World War One, where the world is occupied by animals and insects, I guess. Okay, we are seeing the first part of the gameplay here, so we can look at a couple of things here. This is obviously pre-alpha, I suppose, and we can see the unit that you selected there. There's a few things you can do, like entrenching yourself, and there's a few units on the right here. Kind of reminds me of Company of Heroes to some extent. Yeah, it's very Company of Heroes. I don't know why there's a lock across this thing. I guess this is not a finished map or something. So vehicle customization is a really odd one because in most real-time strategy games, well, you just build, there's a technology tree there based on what you actually research on buildings. Like for instance, StarCraft, right? So you get units specific to that. So I'm not really sure how this game is like. It seems like you can tweak your units a little bit. Okay, the gun sounds a bit weird though. I guess they don't have final gun sounds yet. Alright, this is a deserty looking place and you've got a rat throwing a grenade. Very World War One. A lot of dismemberment and really violent body ripping into pieces. That's why they're saying they're going for the gritty feeling. And also destruction is also another thing that they mentioned in the Kickstarter page, right? They're going for very destructible environments and stuff. Although I don't see the ground sort of reacting to that. You know, one of the things about Company of Heroes, wait, let me just rewind this just a tad bit so that we can clearly see what's happening here. Does the ground deform? Oh, there is ground deformation a tad bit there. I could see the ground deformation a little bit there. So destruction is also another thing. So if you're into Company of Heroes, does Iron Harvest have sim? I guess Iron Harvest does have the deformation thing as well. Dynamic destruction. What does that mean? Okay, it means that it destroys. Yeah, that's very Company of Heroes. They show this. Depending on where you're actually firing your shells and stuff, the buildings sort of react to that physics. Monstrous machinery. How monstrous is that? I guess it's just poison. Oh, that looks like a giant hamster wheel. I guess that's the end of the trailer. Yeah, then we have this hot looking leather mice chick, I guess. Right, so the developers definitely have some sort of obsession with furries, I guess. That is supposed to be a sort of a gameplay teaser trailer, but we didn't get to see that much of gameplay actually, rather than, I mean, apart from some small little bits and pieces here and there. What's interesting is the different like environments that they mentioned. There seems to be like a ruined city, and then you have like a deserty kind of area, and then you have this sort of like a forest kind of area. I think, is that it? And then this thing, I guess this is also part of the forest. I really like this scene though. This scene is really nice. Yeah, I like this scene a lot. But to be fair, honestly, I don't know how much tactics can go into like World War One, since it's trench warfare, and basically who has the longest distance gun, the most biggest, baddest, longest range gun wins, I guess. Maybe I'm just oversimplifying it. Maybe there is strategy in, or tactics rather, in World War One sort of combat, right? The other thing I need to mention is that I'm not really sure whether the game has base building, because they never made it clear whether there's base building. But you will be able to build defensive structure. So I don't know whether that's base building or you're in your traditional sense where you can train units. But I've asked the developers on Discord, so let me see if they answer me there, and I'll update in the comments in this video if there is actually traditional base building like in Company Heroes and Iron Harvest and stuff. Actually, so let's have a look at their Kickstarter page here. In their Kickstarter page, they mentioned that Ratten Reich is a real-time strategy game. Again, very, very vague. I'm not really sure what an RTS means these days, because there's so many different variations of them, like real-time tactics, which I assume this game is real-time tactics, but I might be wrong there. Again, I need to get the developers to actually update me on that. So absorbing some of the best ideas of the genre while also offering a unique flair and story. Depending on the situation, the player will take the command of a small squad or an entire division to fight in this. Oh, okay, alright. So I guess this is pretty clear that you're not actually building an army, you are basically in command of a small squad or a division. So I guess those missions, you'll have specific objectives. This is real-time tactics. This is not base building RTS kind of thing, right? I will actually update still in my comments with the developers' comments to my question, if the developers answer my question. But yeah, I don't think this is actually a base building RTS. This is real-time tactics where you control the division. So you can actually take advantage of terrain, barricades for cover, there's cover mechanics, upgrade equipment for specific combat missions, and manage resources. I guess managing resources would be in between missions, like how well you did and stuff. That thing carries on, and maybe you can upgrade your units. Sort of like Company of Heroes, one of those DLCs for Company of Heroes, which I can't recall what is that thing. But one of the Company of Heroes DLCs where you're playing like one mission after the other, and you sort of collect the certain resources to actually upgrade your unit and heal them and stuff. I guess it has a similar structure like that. Countries of inspiration. Okay, so there is a lot of countries here. I don't think that okay, what they've revealed, I think there's about 5 or 4 factions. So I don't think every country gets its own faction. Like, I think overall certain faction has a little bit of a flavor of all of these countries, which is cool. They're trying to build their own world here, their own sort of alternate universe. So that's cool to see an indie developer actually do something like that. Ratten Reich is a grim and unforgiving world in which an ongoing war is fought between anthropomorphic rats, mice, roaches, and lizards. So it's not just rats, although rats and mice. Although I think generally most of the factions are rats and mice, right? The roach and lizards are specific factions. So the universe is adorned with slums, charred corpses, steam tanks. Oh, steam tanks. Are we going steampunk here? There's no such thing as steam tanks in real world, right? Oh yeah, I see some steam tanks in this GIF. So it really is not just World War One with rats and mice and cockroaches and lizards. I think there is some sort of steampunk element to it. Has left nothing but scars on the mothering soil of the world. Millions upon millions of fates and dreams have turned to ash. Really? I mean, that's what they say. Inspired by events of the World Wars, so the Tsar army of roaches, dozens of mice-led countries, and so on. So it's clearly very inspired by real-world history and stuff, and real factions. I mean, real countries, not factions. I'm about to call countries in our world like factions now. The Malaysian faction and Singapore faction. So we can see here there's like 4 different terrains here, like the ruined buildings, the desert, something like village and a jungle sort of thing. Oh, there's jungle. We didn't see jungle in the trailer though. So the factions, okay, the factions here. This is the interesting bit. So we have Ratten Reich, Germany, I guess. These are basically rats, right? So there's an emperor and stuff. I guess Holy Roman Empire sort of thing. Rats. These are rats, and you can see that they have different like units and stuff. Then we have the FMR Union, which is the mice, I guess. This seems like, okay, these are clearly mice. Franks and Angles. So I guess these are like the French, I guess. Franks and Angles have supremacy. So this is the French. We have the CAR. These guys are roaches. This is cockroaches, which is like gives me really the creepy crawlies. Seriously. For the motherland, which means that these guys are actually inspired by Soviet Union, the Russians, I guess. And then we've got the Red Dragon, which is like lizards. These are Chinese, obviously. So there'll also be lizards. And then we have the Sun Empire, which is another lizard. Yeah, this is another lizard faction. The Japanese, basically. So far we've got like Sun Empire, 1, 2, 3, 4, and yeah, 5 factions. That's quite a lot of factions, right? Even Company of Heroes didn't come with that so many factions on launch. And Iron House, well, you know, there's only like what, 3 factions or something. I think they've added a few more in DLCs, but yeah. So there's characters, there's special like hero characters and stuff. Game features 3 full-fledged companies for gameplay. I guess campaigns, I guess. It's a typo or something. Total of 15 hours is, you know, not much, but decent. That's a decent amount. Dozens of playable characters and over 70 different blowing, I don't know what they mean by blowing units. Obviously these guys are not English speaking. English is not their first language, I guess. These developers, I'm not sure where they're from. Customization techniques, I guess vehicle customization and stuff, right? Huge variety of small arms, okay. Single player and co-op skirmish missions and multiplayer. They have quite a lot planned out actually. So destruction, as I said, is one of the things you can see here. Gritty, yes, a lot of blood, body parts, and dismemberment. Unit wise, I think what they're going for is like a lot of different type of units. Like, I guess they will be the equivalent of grenadiers and infantry soldiers and stuff for each of those factions, but I think in terms of the weapons might be a bit different. So you can see cockroaches have like a chitinous shell, so they have a bit more armor, protection in battle. So each of those factions actually will have their own unique sort of strengths, I guess. Whatever it takes, Ratten Reich. So we can see some of the thing. Management of units is a thing. Close combat. There's also close combat, which means that I guess you can charge with bayonets and stuff. Very World War One, yeah. There's also like medics, which you can heal units. Very tactics focused, alright. So to the developers of this game, dude, like there's actually a subgenre called real-time tactics. Don't call it real-time strategy and say your inspiration is Company of Heroes and Iron Harvest. If you're not going to have base, those are more traditional like RTS game. This is real-time tactics, right? So don't say that this is real-time strategy, right? It's really confusing if you, especially if you say that you're inspired by Company of Heroes. But to be fair, Company of Heroes base building is quite simple, but there is still base building, honestly speaking. Tactical combat, yeah, tactical combat, so there's cover and stuff. Okay, yeah, we've seen all these things in those other games as well. So what's the difference of Ratten Reich other than unique factions and like animals and lizards and cockroaches, like rats and mice? So is this the RTS game or real-time tactics game made for fans of furries? I don't know, but what they're saying here is quite interesting in the sense that, okay, there's vehicle customization. Like, this could be interesting for people who like World War One sort of tactics, and also a little bit of steampunk vibe. It is an alternate universe. Obviously, they're not going for realistic, which is why they have rats and mice here. So their goal stretch campaign, they've hit the first one, so they've got 2 expanded game campaigns. I think you can see here that they've hit the first goal and the second one as well. Their roadmap, okay, this is the important bit here. So pre-alpha starts in 4th quarter of 2021, which is the end of this year. It's really close. And alpha starts in 1st quarter of 2022, beta in the 3rd quarter, and release. It just seems too perfect here. Release is 4th quarter of 2022. Guys, like, this is maybe a bit too ambitious. Like, can you really go from one stage, from one quarter to the other quarter, like perfectly in 3 months? I'm not quite buying that, especially since, like, you guys, like, I don't know what's your experience and stuff. Like, if you're really experienced development studio, then maybe you could do that. But yeah, I mean, they've got really interesting assets and like a decent like gameplay trailer done and stuff. So who knows? They also plan to actually release it on consoles, like if they hit another stretch goal, which again, Company of Heroes, Iron Harvest are not on console, so it's not really the territory for consoles. So I don't know, these guys might be stretching themselves a bit too thin here. I don't know, but at least they've hit the first 2 goals, which means that we are getting the game. They will be developing the game. As exactly how long they're going to take to develop the game, I really don't know. But I wish them all the best. This sort of game is the type of game that I like. I mean, the rats, mice, the anthropomorphic animals thing, like, that's something that's very personal, I guess, whether you like it or you hate it. Maybe some people will be totally turned off by this game because of that. Some people may not be bothered with it. If it had like amazing gameplay, really good tactical gameplay, I don't mind like closing an eye on that part. Okay, so yeah, I mean, that's fine. That really depends on whether you're okay with it or not. They also have a Steam page. Some images here we can see. Yeah, these are like trenches, a lot of trench warfare and stuff. And yeah, we've seen a little bit of the desert thing, a little bit of tanks. Really nice looking game. I'm not sure what engine they're using. We can see bodies on top of barbed wires and all that. That's a very nice touch. If that happens dynamically in the game, that would be very impressive. Or if that's just a prop in the battlefield, that's like whatever. But it's a nice prop, I guess, in the battlefield. Really nice graphics. So I don't see how this will have like tons of units and stuff. It's clearly just a small division or squadron. So these little things here, these icons here, I guess shows that they are in cover. It's not very clear. Of course, this is pre-alpha and stuff, so we don't really know how things will end up in the final game. This is super early, so I don't know how they're going to finish this game in 1 year's time. That seems a bit too ambitious, but this is an interesting project. So tell me what you think about it, whether you are interested in this game and stuff. Like if you have any questions about it, like, ask me. Maybe I can ask the developers about this. But yeah, I will be keeping a close eye on this one and see whether they are able to meet the expectation of RTS gamers, and also being able to execute on what they've actually promised in their Kickstarter page, right? We've seen a lot of Kickstarter disasters, but yeah, this is a relatively small studio, I believe, and like this, they don't have huge experience in this, but you know, they've done a really impressive job in terms of marketing materials and stuff, like doing videos on TikTok and his gameplay trailer. But you know, those are all irrelevant. The real proof is in the pudding, right? So we got to see gameplay, actual gameplay. So I'll try to see if I can get into the closed beta and check it out. I don't know if they'll put an NDA for that. But yeah, that's it for me today, and thank you for watching. And if you have any suggestion for game that I should check out, strategy games mind you, do leave your comments below and I will have a look at it. So thank you, bye bye.